Okay, let's open the meeting at 4:03.
Can you tell me who is not here?
Yes.
Not here.
Tim's here,
and here.
And
Howard.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you,
Thank you.
Ken.
Ken.
Mark is with us today via Zoom. And Mark, would you say a few words so I can figure out if we can hear you or not?
Good afternoon. It is September.
Wonderful. Third. Everybody can hear. Very good.
Very good.
Okay, so today Mark Luchtenberger is here. First time he hasn't had to be out of the country in a few months.
Going on Saturday, so, if you're so lucky to have it.
That's true. And we get somebody to do the minutes.
That's right.
How about that? All right. I don't know if we have any announcements today, but we should be looking at the minutes from the last meeting, which were wonderfully helpful.
thanks
And
both our
thank
minute
you.
takers, a lot of writing.
Yes, and it was very helpful as I tried to capture everything that we said into the draft that I sent up to everybody today. So everybody's had a chance to look at them. If there's no questions, I'll take a motion to approve.
Second,
I had a,
Yes, I did.
are we gonna talk about that before we approve?
Well, we can, or we can include it as part of, I was going to talk about it during the meeting today.
Well, the only thing that I would change is code red is not discontinued.
Okay, so why don't we add that and get it out of the meeting?
And the rest do later, but that should be.
Yeah.
Let me find out where it is. Right in.
very end, I believe, on it.
It was on towards the end, strategy F. And I had marked that we discussed that.
I don't see it.
Well,
I'll look down here.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I remember writing it, I didn't have the first one.
here it is, strategy F. Code red has been replaced by mass communication, use the term social going.
Do you
Do you want me just to delete that sentence?
Yeah,
We'll be done.
We'll be done.
okay.
Brownie Scott.
Brownie Scott Bonner.
So do I have a motion to approve with the correction?
So moved.
Second,
Second? All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, who moved? Who seconded?
Second.
Okay, today what we have to finish doing is finishing up we're working on the updates to the sustainability plan for our community, our new community action plan, which is due on the 15th. We got through most of it at the last meeting, but we had actually, there's 3 sections now. I thought we could, did everybody get a copy of the update sent to everybody? I thought we could work right from that today. Just as a little background, these have each strategy listed. I've numbered them to get away from the letters to make it clearer. And in there are the strategies that we discussed. There's top level, and then there is more detail down as we look at this. I'm thinking for Friday and for the selectmen, pretty much if we should be able to use the strategy and each of the numbered top level statements for the meeting. We have a lot of really good detail that we discussed at the meeting last week that will go into, I think, our work plan next year. But I don't know that that is necessary to be in what we sent to the selectmen on Thursday. So based on that, I thought we could go through and just double check what we're sending. And then we have, when we get over to strategy F, G, and H, those are the ones that we need to discuss more, because we didn't get to them at the last meeting. So, I think before we go back and start on A, why don't we move right over to strategy F, which is the social vulnerability piece. And Jay went through and sent us a lot of really good thoughts, I think, about how we should really address socioeconomic equity, which we did not really discuss that much in the last plan. So my thinking is, I'd like to get comments from everybody. If this wouldn't be a new strategy to add to that plan, to that letter. And then she went on to say, under the A, B, and C, we would show the build on and support the work being done in the town by the town community organization at our efforts. We could stop there. We then have a listing underneath of areas that we can focus on as we start working on this.
A comment?
Yeah.
I really appreciated Mark's comment last time to be careful that what we're talking about is within the sustainability. So I don't know if I superseded that. But I just wanted to mention that in case they don't.
I don't know. That's a good topic for discussion. Any comments on that?
Jay, we're sort of thinking perhaps like the town recreation program or something like that. Looking through here, so that's what you're.
Well, Mark can speak to it too, I hope, but I kind of feel like I threw everything into the spaghetti pot. And do we need to list it all here? I think some of it, but maybe not the town recreation.
I guess the question goes back to, is it under our purview? Will we be doing that? Or are we usually just showing these to show the public of the areas that are in town? And whether that's necessary.
Yeah, that would be a possibility rather than under F 1A. Instead of build on and support, you're saying
Publicize?
Yeah. Publicize, make the public aware, or support the effort. Well, except not support. I don't know. We're not going to be doing it. I'm just saying there's a lot that the town's already doing that we should acknowledge.
I think it also
goes back to the last meeting
in which
in which Peter
said something like he really, in my mind,
captured things.
He said,
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I did read that too.
I know.
I know.
Peter encapsulated the conversation by stating that resilience means having a network of people to help others. And then that plays out during emergencies. So are those things, do those things participate in creating this network to help others, which underlies the resiliency component, the social resiliency component that we do? The question is, how nebulous do we get?
We'd have to, I think we should address it in the way that you just defined it.
That Peter doesn't.
Peter
paraphrasing.
Yeah. And the storms are a good example of what came into play to help people, or still helping people. Such as. I mean, High is doing a lot. Meals.
Right.
Is that? It's not our purview, but we I try not to use
to support.
we acknowledge
that work.
We interweave
Interweave
our efforts
with
theirs.
theirs.
Well, and I sort of think it's like the Conservation Commission work that we talk about. We're not, we're trying not to say.
We're not putting any effort per se.
Right.
But our
Our
effort
effort is to
advertise
to make people aware of these.
I think
I think that's an important role for the town.
I think you're
I
right.
think you're right, they're going to run by other people,
Yeah.
But making
sure that everyone knows about them is,
And a lot of
and a lot of people don't know about them, so I think
there's a
there's a real role for the town in that.
How much?
How much?
Can you figure out how to say
Figure out how
that?
to say that?
Well, can we,
Provide
Provide
information.
information, if we already said, provide information and access
through the town
website.
Oh, yeah.
But
That's for the
that's for the RSC, but I mean, I think
there's
there's specific things we could list that we could
make sure
that we get onto the town website, like this list here is a really good one.
so maybe under
one
1.6, or
sorry,
B,
B,
1B,
1B,
that could be
that could
a
be a
statement,
not
B, but an
an introductory statement.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yes, yeah, along with,
And then
examples include, yeah,
one
I through
VR.
VR.
Somebody like to take a stab at writing that. That's good. We don't have to do it right now, but
But
before tomorrow.
Yeah.
Who decided? Who said yes? Jay.
And that will be our introduction to addressing socioeconomic equity,
or just
Or
part
just
A.
part
Or Part A.
Where is it?
1A.
1A.
I was thinking B could be before A.
Or that's your
Well,
intro.
that's your intro.
Is your intro, and then you follow.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, that's good. But that's where we want it, right under that.
I would add a little bit more. I think since you say provide info, I think you could take a step further. And not only list here's log, whatever else, here's because of hunger, I think you go a step further and give a general instructions about how to go in. A lot of people are sometimes reluctant to take the first step, to go to the website, but if you have specific links or say, okay, you need help with getting to doctor's appointment, then reach out high and here's how you do it. So I would think more detailed, better, especially with someone who might be a little bit reluctant or a little unsure about just seeing a list on a website. Some people, that's intimidating.
How do you implement that?
And that falls nicely into our strategy aids with engaging Maine people and our outreach. We can figure out some way to tie those together.
The other
The other thing we might consider is not just focusing on the website because
some of
some of the audience that we're working with may not have a, capacity to get to a website.
So we
may want that printed materials available at the front of,
And
in
in
the foyer that says, or whatever, here's what they do.
And would that be possibly a training for the whoever's at the front desk?
Mm-hmm.
Someone asking
Well, and as I understand it, for HA and for other, like general assistance, Gina used to call.
Right.
So calling the town.
and having
a person, yeah.
I don't know if you probably don't want to name a person.
No, we wouldn't want to name a person. We would.
You can list your title though.
Yes.
Yeah,
Mark?
I don't want to muddy the water, but there are two terms being used here, I think. And I don't know anything about this, but I just looked on my phone. And when you talk about social resiliency, the way that's sort of defined is the ability of a community to rebound after a disaster or some sort of things, communication, what have you. Where social equity really is the issue of assuring that disadvantaged populations are addressed in, things that are done to try and mitigate the impacts of climate change. And when it talks about social resiliency, socially resilient communities, it talks about the entire community, and the social equity is more focused on how you assure that when you make decisions about what you do to address climate change, that you consider the needs of disadvantaged groups. And I don't know whether that makes any difference in here, and I was going to look it up in my copy of Maine Won't Wait, but I think I gave it to Matt. But that's for what it's worth.
That's interesting because one of the things, when I recall, in the beginning when we sent through the vulnerability assessment, they referred us to the socioeconomic map that, is it NRC put together, or but it's a map showing income level and how people are affected in town.
As I remember, that's Cundy Harbor.
Mm-hmm.
Only, that's the only area that shows up.
But it also, it showed the income level basically. So I'm not sure how that plays into what we're talking about now.
But I think of
our population as being vulnerable in ways other than income level.
Mm-hmm.
I think
that's a fairly narrow
definition given the median age of the population of
Harpswell
and the
infirmities that often come with age.
I think
that's too narrow of a focus. I don't think we should ignore that by any means. I think we should expand, but
Maybe we might
audience.
do a better job of explaining that. Because I don't know about you all, but I've always found this area really kind of not knowing what to do with it. Why it's there and how we can respond to it. And I like what you said, Nancy, about we have other issues that aren't the normal social.
Because we have the oldest median age in the state, which has the oldest median age in the country.
Yeah, and
we are
at the top
of age.
The pinnacle.
Of age
population.
That would be us.
But on the other hand, we have other issues. We have no public transport. We have a lot of other issues because we're rural. That we might be able to make a really good case of why we are talking about this as far as sustainability.
And we're peninsular,
Yeah.
which goes to your point about water and transportation infrastructure.
Fragmented in terms of transportation as well.
Yeah.
So do we summarize
any of that
anywhere?
No, but I think we should. I think we've learned a lot over the last couple of years. And from what I'm gathering, it's this whole idea is for towns to figure out what their vulnerabilities are. And I would hope that with a good explanation, we might be able to broaden some of these things with success.
One of the
tricks to answering an essay question
is
college undergraduate students to rewrite the question
and then
answer that so long as it's related. And the state has provided guidelines,
but those
guidelines don't fit our community as well as our definition
would dictate,
would
then
dictate,
maybe
then
we
maybe we
should
should
try
try
to
to
persuade
persuade
the
the
state
state
that
that where you need.
I like it.
Another
Another
issue
issue
that
that
occurs to
occurs to
me
me
is
is
isolation,
isolation,
which
which
goes
goes
with
with older
isolation,
isolation,
older
peninsular,
no public
no public
transportation,
transportation,
and was one of
was
the
one of the
big
big issues
in the Haas
in the
survey
Haas
back
survey
when
back
that was
when that was
getting
first
started.
getting started.
So when
So when
climate change
change
only
only
aggravates
aggravated
the impact.
the impact.
I don't know how.
I don't know how we figure out.
But that's
But
something we could, perhaps because we have to have something under here that would be a direction of us trying to flesh that out in the future because of the issues that have been brought up. And that in itself could be, I think, an action item for us over the next 2 years. And tying it with even some of the educational outreach that we have in the last strategy.
Does,
Does,
the whole other
committee, affordable housing or attainable housing, but
does that
fit here as well as, we're pricing out
the
the
families that
families
are
that are 10th generation,
right? We don't have
we don't have
young
young
kids.
kids.
I don't know if it fits
or not, but
But we'd be,
I like your idea
I
of
like your idea of
fleshing it
fleshing
out.
it
I
out.
think we should
I
look
would
at
say indirectly, it does. One way to look at it is we so rely on volunteers. And I think that's one of the big challenges we're having with volunteer fire departments, is that you're,
Good point.
I also think
I
that's
also
one of
think
the
that's one of the
strengths
strengths
of
of
this
this town,
is that
is
people
is people are so involved in the governance of the town.
But we've seen
But we've seen
volunteers
volunteers
drop
drop
off
off
at
at,
like fire
like
department.
fire department.
Okay,
Okay,
so
so
under build
under
healthy and
build healthy and
resilient
resilient
communities, then we
we
can,
can,
Jay, you can
Jay,
work
you
on
can work on
fleshing out,
fleshing out,
and
and
Nancy, you may have
Nancy,
some
you may have some
input on
input on
a good
a good
introduction.
introduction.
Editing.
For editing. No,
Okay, can I copy
no,
that?
Taking
it's taking Peter's, it's off last pages. I had one sort of thought,
Sorry.
I
was wondering to what extent road associations can play a role in
sort of
overcoming isolation,
at least for
at least for the people on their road.
Because
Because
you
you can ignore each other, or you can
sort of be
encouraged by the town to
be a
be a community on the road.
That's a good point,
It's
and
a
we
good
have
point.
that
We have that
mentioned right in the beginning about,
and
and we've talked a
we
lot
talked a
about
lot about
the
the
role
role
of finding out where the
finding out
road
where the road
associations are,
associations are,
and the people
the people
themselves,
themselves,
and then,
and
them
and
in
in
return,
return,
for us
us
giving them
giving them
education on how to keep the road.
the road.
They might
They
become
might become
disseminators of information we're trying to get out.
But not just
But not just the road, have
No,
a
other
community,
people
because we all have to
pay
pay in to,
you know,
to the road fees.
Right.
But I know what you mean, with our road association, there's been informal years when someone's in need, and it's sort of, just the email goes out.
Yeah.
Someone can't drive for next month or something like that.
Exactly, so that seems like it's an opportunity, if road associations are encouraged to do that.
Mary Ann,
Mark,
I'm here looking at the executive summary of Maine Won't Wait. And clearly, this effort is supposed to kind of tie back into local implementation of the strategies in Maine Won't Wait. And if you go to strategy F in the executive summary, it talks about, and this is just a quick, this is the summary. Under strategy F, it has empower local and regional community resilience efforts. adopt official sea level rise projections, emphasize resilience through land use planning and legal tools, and strengthen public health monitoring, education, and prevention. And you may remember way back when there was a spreadsheet of the kinds of activities that the state viewed as being appropriate under each of these strategies. And I would suggest that whoever's gonna work on redrafting Strategy F, both go back and look at Strategy F in Maine Won't Wait, and the ideas that were included in that original spreadsheet for appropriate municipal activities to implement that strategy.
I happen to have it right here. And I'm not going to read the whole thing, it's really long. But
No,
what
I know it is, and that's why, but I think
I'll give them a
it
copy.
would be good to make sure that what the town is including under Strategy F reflects what the state's thinking was in Maine Won't Wait.
Yeah, it does, it pretty much focuses on emergency services.
Okay. But I think we could still do what you suggested about action plan and what you just said about we're not building it,
We're not the
we're
same.
not the same.
Community
And saying we're not the same.
I think this town can go above and beyond what the state has defined.
And I think it's
And I think it's the right.
Absolutely.
Pardon me?
It might not get a state funding,
But it shows
a commitment to taking care of the people who live in Harpswell
under
under circumstances that are not cookie cutter circumstances.
Every town in Maine might be saying that.
That's okay.
Abby, you
Abby,
want
you
to say
wanted to say something?
I don't know if this is too helpful, but I have attended the vast majority of the Maine Climate Council meetings, because they're updating the new plan by the end of this year. And under the social resiliency section, they broadened it out. This new iteration, and specifically when they talk about vulnerable populations, it's a big long list now of what vulnerable populations they're looking at, and elderly,
Older adult
populations, right? Older adult populations are definitely within that focus on social resiliency. So I wonder if maybe the focus from the plan 4 years ago might be a little more limited for social resiliency, and it's broadened out a lot more in the next iteration. I don't know if that's too helpful.
I mean, it seems like everything we talk about fits in with the general emergency response. I mean, if there is some major storm, I think using the road station should reach out and make sure everyone's driveway very much fits with that.
I think it's up to us to figure out how to say that, so that it is.
States just
following our lead.
I know.
Well, they want to do it differently, so
Maybe the follow-up might be something that's basically just saying, for example, organizational bodies or parties or whatever you want to call them, who could be a resource under certain circumstances when people are vulnerable, would include brother associations, and then maybe we can figure out some others to implement.
Yeah.
Not putting the onus on the road association to do it, but just suggesting that they have one. That's a possibility. Yeah.
And not committing the town that we're gonna take care of.
Yeah. We already been involved in that, but you're somebody.
This is just.
So, to move us along today on this, we have a consensus that we want to kind of flesh out different, or add a strategy. Add to that strategy what we have just been talking about?
And you need it, did you say by Friday?
No, I need it tomorrow.
By tomorrow. I guess I misheard because I wanted.
I have
Okay.
to send this off for Thursday's meeting for,
Okay.
you know, like tomorrow is, I'm supposed to have it today. I told Terry I would have it tomorrow,
Okay.
so that it can be printed and put in the binders.
I'll get,
And we don't have to, as we talked about, this is gonna be kind of a higher level, so we don't, I think if we get the introduction of how we're trying to say this, that would go a long way, and that would give us time to flesh it out more by the time we send the full plan in.
Okay.
sounds good. And looking,
Fifteen.
looking ahead a little bit to what Ken, I think it was Ken's point about getting the word out
about things.
still under F. Somewhere it talks about well, number three partially gets at that.
Number three. What we're talking about,
But it's not, it's kind of specific to fire. But anyway, we begin to touch.
Right. So basically, the select board has to approve this Thursday night to be ready to be sent out because they don't meet before we have, well, they actually do. We have until the 20th, I don't want to say out loud. But there's not another meeting. So we have to get the general consensus from the selectmen that we're on the right path, I think. And I kind of looked at what we did the last time, sort of following the same level of detail. And thinking that if we gave you too much to look at and talk about Thursday night, that might not be the best way to go. Jay, would you like to say something?
Yeah, I think I'm catching up, and I think I finally found the right paper. But build healthy, resilient communities. We're talking about education kind of things and working with other organizations, sort of things, and whatever. And the question I have is, like we have done with the road studies in other areas, given we're talking about the next 2 years, something in there that says we're going to do further assessment of the community's strengths, assets, resilience, and gaps or vulnerabilities that we need to address. So I'm hearing assumptions. We know what we know. We don't yet know what's interesting. So that's my thought, because these specific activities rely on where to put the energy and depth.
Can you say
that one more time?
What do you look at what to determine?
That one of the items under that, you have address socioeconomic activities. This was number one. Maybe another number under there would be review and further assess our community strengths.
Yeah, strengths and weaknesses.
Resiliency, strengths, and gaps, and develop further action plans or strategies out there.
Thank you.
That's good.
Because I'm trying to catch up. Yeah, Cooties Harbor may be a poorer area, but they may have the best social network to support one another. Right. We don't know. Just one example.
I think that's a
very good point.
That's good. Yeah. That's good.
Assessing is always good. Assessing good and looking at the strengths. You know, I'm thinking about there's a community development approach that builds on the assets and it doesn't look for the problems, but builds the assets. What about
Okay, so we're going to, just moving back to what's in front of you. Number two, we're not saying that it's been replaced. I had shown Code Red had been replaced, but that was a misunderstanding that I had about it. So I was thinking about, should we just take this out? But we do have to say is provide education to the public on the system and how to sign up for phone art and the options for alerts, right? Mhm. Yeah.
Could you say like Code Red has been supplemented with
Yes.
the,
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Is this last paragraph correct then, under C, town information sign-ups are mass communication? That would be part of the instructional piece, though, isn't it?
Well, that's when I really went into a rabbit hole with all this. I did so many, and is it helpful to give people too much? I don't know if you, I just don't know. If you sign up for all of them.
Well, that's something we got to figure out, let people know.
My summary was focus on what Harpswell does, which is mass communication. And you can put the others in there, but is it helpful? I don't know.
I don't either.
I find it very confusing.
I don't know
that all those
particular
things need to be put in this document.
I think they're
really helpful to know
and to
tease out
and
then to
communicate
somewhere
in
one of these forms.
But I don't know
that has to come.
the information.
needs
And
to us.
this is another area where we would want to determine the most effective way to provide the information that's needed, right?
Well, and remember, Art was always. I kept harping on Code Red, and he was always hesitant. It's a private company, as opposed to like FEMA or emergency management. I did talk to Cumberland County. They're offering to train in Code Red. I mean, I don't feel the need right now, but that's an offer.
Okay.
We want to find out
more about it.
One of them is
a government
Maine
government,
another is
EMS.
I don't know. And I talked to Terry, who said the mass communication system will push out FEMA alerts. So you sign up for meetings, calendar, agendas, all that, plus
Right.
emergency alert.
That's more in the dissemination,
which is
Well, I
not
don't
for
want
us
to
to
deny
answer right now.
information, but
I just don't know how helpful it is.
Well, maybe we can make that a little more general. Okay. Number three, continue to work with the town fire administrator to educate residents. And for four, I think we can definitely maybe, well, let me get some everybody on 3 and 4. These would be new that we'd be adding to what is in the plan now.
We're still on it.
Ah, yes.
okay.
What did the latch F say?
Looking at the 22 sustainability plan, F3 is developer and early warning system, education evacuation plan. So that's the area.
Yeah.
I guess I wonder if 3 does it need to be continued work with fire administrator, fire department? Is it broader than that?
Probably.
Fire department, fire administrator plus other
Emergency
institutions.
service what is the title of FEMA code red? What are these considered?
Well, they're
Well,
emergency
they're emergency
alerts,
alerts,
but
but
it's not just
it's
about,
not just
three
about,
isn't just about alerts, it's about
mitigation
mitigation
and
and
prevention.
prevention. So,
So,
I don't know.
Emergency
response
organizations or something like that?
Entities.
And maybe here, these are the two where we would stay as general as the old plan.
Yeah. I'm a little concerned
that I don't see the word evacuation in here,
as there was.
as there was apparently in the original one.
And I think
And
about
I
the
think
flooding
about
on
the
the
flooding
Dingley
on the
Island
Dingley
Bridge
Island
and the
Bridge
flooding
and the
of
flooding
Potts
of
Point
Potts Point
Causeway.
Causeway.
And I think
And I think
evacuation notification might be in the
might
future of
future
Harpswell, like
like
maybe next winter. You know, I don't want to be a nervous Nelly, but I could see where there would be people who should perhaps move temporarily from where they live
during the course of the storm, so that if they have trouble, they can be taken care of.
So I think we
So
should
I
put
think we should put
evacuation
evacuation
in,
in,
talking about fire and fire industries, a reader would
automatically go to
fires,
right?
But
But
I think
I think
that somewhere down the road until we get bridges replaced, small bridges
replaced with larger bridges.
And we have a central location here, which is the shelter in place. I think perhaps at some point we might have to encourage people to evacuate where they're living in order to come to a safe place. So I would like to see evacuate written in here.
Sure.
Something like when and where evacuation processes might be appropriate.
Well, wouldn't those evacuation notices come out through the emergency system, whatever they are?
I would think so.
The next source I would think.
You know, this is an area we have not done much with, because we didn't quite know what to do with it, to be truthful. But it's an area, I think that, and keeping with the idea of what we're doing here in the state, we now have some ideas on how to work on this and actually put some things that in effect talk about things that could be helpful.
And a lot of stuff that is we're already doing, we've already talked about, but it's putting it down.
Yeah. So,
I think January woke a lot of people up, certainly woke me up. I didn't ever think that I would be worried about friends on the island until I saw the water flooding the road.
Right.
Or even Potts
Point.
Right, I didn't
I
see that.
didn't see that.
There's no way I could be driving over
that
that part of the world in that storm.
Oh, yeah. I saw it.
okay, so it's getting kind of late, it's 10 to 5, and we're still on the first item. And, so do we have a way forward on this particular item that
Well,
that we
I
can,
guess I'm looking for direction. I can rewrite the introductory statement. Can have a list. Do we wanna? Is there some way we wanna say? Flesh out more in the future. I mean, how?
well, basically, I think we have some, with the introduction, that would be the top level that we would put on Thursday.
And then we'll keep.
And then we could keep working it down from there, but I think, as I think about this, I just see a real good opportunity to have a lot of conversation directed on making sure what is in effect and what might be added as a due action.
And I think it should include James.
Yeah,
comment.
definitely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Give it a shot.
Give it a shot.
You
Get it to your
at midnight.
Or later.
Wow.
Wow.
When I
You're talking about
midnight tomorrow night or midnight?
when I Picking up.
All right.
From sleep.
You get up off
You
there.
know, off the air, would you?
All right, let's move on to strategy area G, which is invest in climate-ready infrastructure. And
Invest in climate.
ready infrastructure. I'm reading directly. Do you have a copy of this, Mark?
Not with me, no.
One-
It's all right.
I was gonna say if you want to write
No, it's just gonna confuse me.
Oh, okay.
I'll just be asking questions.
So basically, we have down here, we're going to continue to seek funding for the identified improvements, and they should include, this is the financial piece. Continue to provide the annual funding for Spira. We have done 2 years in a row, and we continue to do. Develop a program for funding major infrastructure projects, those are to-dos. And continue to seek grants for engineering studies. So that it is, that's what we have written down. And then we also have as a new item to think about, develop a mitigation investment policy.
Then, jump back to space a little for 1C. What do we want to continue? Grants, engineering studies, and implementation.
Yes.
Yes.
Keeping Mark awake.
Right.
Does it have anywhere here that says what Spira stands for?
I do.
It's in here somewhere?
Yeah.
Because I can never.
If it's not in, but I'll make sure that it is in there. Would you like to know?
Yes.
Let's see if I can remember.
I can never remember.
Sustainability Plan Implementation Reserve Account.
Yeah. I did write it out. I think it was the letter to the select. That's where it says.
Thank you.
Mary, you were going to,
I'm sorry?
I interrupted, but you were about going to develop.
Oh, yeah, to develop a mitigation investment policy. Now, I think Jay might have something to say on this, and I think we need to talk about this a little bit, figure out how we're going to solve the problem, but how we would deal with this particular item.
Marianne, we have the beginning of this in what we've written about roads and priority for what are the criteria for the priority for different roads. And I'm assuming we have the same thing for landings. That some are more important than others because of numbers of people, public landings, whatever. So I think we already have a lot of this information available.
So might we be then thinking about we would provide that information for this management investment policy to be used as making decisions, because the decisions are going to be made in the end by the select board.
Is it mitigation investment?
But
Management investment policy or mitigation investment policy?
No, a mitigation investment policy, we're talking about putting money away.
But you just said management investment policy.
I'm sorry, I misspoke.
But we do
already have a pretty well-developed list of priorities in terms of numbers of people, public landings. I mean, there's a whole list, number of businesses that would be affected.
Right.
So
we don't need
to reinvent the wheel. We just need to
put it
where everyone can read it.
Yeah, and it would seem to be these. Well, just go back to roads. We have something in there that says that we will develop, we have a criteria of how we chose the roads and how they were prioritized. And then there's a second priority to say that these roads would be the engineering plans for updating the road would be part of, when a capital road project comes up, that information would be utilized as part of making the decision on the new road, the updated road. So I guess I'm seeing that we should be able to sit down and get together a listing of what we would like to see included as you start taking, putting in effect a mitigation policy. We're gonna have something to say to the public for them to like the idea of putting money away without a particular reason.
Mary Ann, this is
Yes?
Mark. This is my idea, and it really says, obviously when the town looked at the roads and which roads to apply for grants for, it looked at a variety of factors. But that doesn't include cost. What does it cost to make the improvement? And, we had a public meeting on the road studies, and, people had all sorts of suggestions for how the roads could be improved. But to me, the bottom line that the future select boards and town meeting are going to have to decide is there's not an unlimited amount of money, and how do you prioritize among the 5 roads that have been already identified and work has been done on, and presumably there might be more when the flood mapping is updated. How do you start to make priorities over where you're going to spend the limited amount of money? I think that's going to be an important question because, at that public meeting, there were people who said, well, yes, but we've got another place down here that floods or flooded. And so to me, the idea of a capital improvement program is that you look at the needs for capital investment and you create a system for figuring out which ones you need to fund first and which ones you wait on. And to me, I think in the long term, the town would be smart to start to think about how it will make those decisions in the future.
Just add on to what Mark said. No microphone here.
I should give you a microphone.
No, that's okay. Totally agree with that. And just for you all to know, there's been the recommendation at the Budget Advisory Committee last year that we now have a 5-year horizon for capital investment, that be a 10-year horizon. And if this committee could provide what Mark was talking about, what are the priorities and why, that would be very helpful for that process to go forward with whatever data is available on cost.
Okay. Well, on roads,
We can do it.
pretty.
This is a 2-year plan.
Mhm. Yep.
Yeah. That'd be sufficient.
And I'm not sure
it's how land makes.
I know your committee's doing some stuff.
Not 10 years out.
10 years out.
No, but 2 years.
2 years. I'm not sure we even look 2 years.
Well, 2 years.
No, but we already have information on 2 of your landings.
Right.
That we know what the cost will be to update. I guess there might be others.
There will be,
as well as other
just
just
regular
regular
maintenance.
maintenance.
You would presumably figure that into your long-term plan as well.
Is that something
Yes,
your committee would
We're-
start?
we're-
You're looking at it already, I think.
Right, and I think we're reading about waterfront in a couple weeks about land use in general, right? Is that, Moses, am I right on that?
You are.
So
That
that
focuses on
parking
parking
and
and
access
access
as much as anything, because
because it's
the big addition.
big addition to my docs at the top point.
Of course, it's gone,
gone.
but
But
it's a
it's a
perennial
perennial
issue.
issue. And
We need
we need to
somehow
figure out an answer to at least
alleviate
alleviate it and completely fix it.
So it sounds like we have a good start on this already.
Are the criteria the same or similar to what Deirdre described?
Yeah.
With the addition of which got wiped out by storm?
Well, the
Well,
Potts
Point got
inoperable,
and
Graveyard
Point
Point
also
got
got really
damage from storm,
damaged
but
storm,
much
but
less
much less impactful.
Because that's really
That's
more
really more
pantry
pantry
boats.
boats.
Well, what I was asking
Asking
was,
was,
are the general
criteria
criteria the same? How many,
you know,
how many people
how many
use
people
it?
use it? Usage is definitely,
And then you'd add in, it just got severely damaged, that you didn't.
And as Deirdre mentioned,
the difference,
yeah, the
because
roads,
with the roads, we're talking businesses, access to emergency care. I mean, there's a,
You know,
you know,
if you
if you
close
close
off
off
24,
24,
in
one particular place and
123
at the same storm,
you're going to have
you're going to have trouble for,
you know,
50% of the population not being able to get out.
but we had
But we had worked out a,
We have a
We have a
matrix
matrix that we have a matrix that has criteria
that have
that have
listed
listed
criteria,
criteria,
which
which
we'd be glad
we'd be
glad to share.
glad to share, sure.
And could
And
we
could
redo
we
it
redo it
to
to
what you're looking
what
at?
you're looking
And I
at?
do
And I do think we've already ranked things, so I think we could do a 5 or 10 year plan
based on
the rankings we've already,
We've now,
unless we
unless we
want
want to add some other criteria, but
we've ranked them,
We have
applied
applied
for
for
and
and
received
grants to do
engineering
engineering assessments
assessments
on the 5
that were
that were
ranked.
ranked.
And
And
the
the
sixth
sixth
one
one
was the
was
first
the first
one
one we did, which was
Basic
Basic
Road. So the
So
roads,
the roads,
we
we
basically
basically
will
will
have
have
the
the necessary
financial
financial
information,
information
the
of the
cost,
costs
probably by the end of the year.
of the year.
And
And
we could
we
use
could
that
use that
as part
as
of
part of
what
what
we're
we're
trying
trying
to
to
do.
do.
And it would
And
probably, for town
for town
landings, we have two.
two,
There will
there
probably
will
be
probably be more, but
but, you know, they're
you know, they're
working
working
on
on
that,
that, but I think it's a good start.
So should
should
there be
something like what Jane had suggested,
which would be
which
to
would be to
assess
assess
in a
in
similar
a similar
fashion,
fashion,
assess town
assess town
landings in
landings
a similar fashion
fashion
to what town
what
roads
town roads has done,
or what
or what
Conservation
Conservation
Commission has
Commission
done about town roads.
roads.
If the
If the
assessment is similar, it's easier for people to be able to make comparisons. And town
And town landings
will
will be
seeking funds from the same general
general
pot
of money
as roads.
as roads, I presume.
So the more
So the more
consistent
consistent those,
that
that
information can be,
information
the
can be,
easier
the
it will be
easier
for people to make decisions.
decision.
So,
So,
for instance,
for instance, with
Ken's
Ken's
group,
group,
including my
including
husband,
my husband,
need to say
need to
that,
say that.
they
They
benefit
benefit from
the
the
format
format of
decision-making
decision-making
that
the
Conservation
Conservation
Commission
Commission did
in choosing
in
its
choosing its
priorities.
priorities.
possibly, and they would
And
probably
they would
want
probably want to add a few there.
Of course,
You're
yeah,
probably
so
still
revise
and adapt, absolutely.
And I think, for example, might be location. In other words, it's certain costs landings or relevant where you are in town. It's that another factor that weighs in.
Sure, it would be different, but could it be structured?
It's being structured the same
Different criteria that,
Landings.
you know,
And where would a person find like the matrix or the list?
It's on our
It's on our
computer.
Yeah, okay, so my
Okay,
next
now,
question
the question
is,
is,
should there be references to this
to this
in here?
here?
Like how you
like
can
how you can
see that
see that
process,
process,
see what the criteria, or is that
or is that not
I think,
necessary?
at some point, maybe when you're getting ready to put something into effect, you would then, right now, it's just what we use, and we refer to. And I think probably one of our, at one point, we used it as an addendum, I think, what we were doing, I'm just not sure. But I think we have a good start.
Well, I'm wondering because I know Deirdre, I can ask her. I know you, I can ask you, but if you don't know who knows, should there be some, how do people know to find out? I'm thinking about the meeting we had about the roads we were doing and the comment about how come you're not dealing with my part of Bethel Point.
Right.
But they're two different
things, but
We do have
spreadsheets we can make available.
if they know.
No, I mean,
As part of this, so we can add
Someone
it,
has
yeah,
yeah,
Maybe
can
not.
add it
as
the
the
spreadsheet.
spreadsheets
the
are the criteria on the spreadsheets.
Even at one, I think at one of the public meetings, we might have even used it in the presentation. I'm not positive. We may have.
Mary Ann,
Yes,
I don't think you have to resolve how to do it tonight.
you're right.
I think what you need to do is decide whether it's an activity that should be in the list that gets undertaken. And for example, yes, there are priorities for roads, and maybe there will be priorities for wharves, but if you have X amount of money, do you spend it on wharves or do you spend it on roads? Those are the kind of questions that you need to think through as you think about, are there other, the answer to the question when somebody says, well, how come you're not considering my road? You need to have that sort of comprehensive, inclusive system, and it's not necessarily a fixed system. The capital budget may change from year to year. Something happens on a road and it was not in the plan, but now the town's got to decide whether it's going to spend money to do something on it. That's the kind of system that you need or should have. And the key is, what do you consider? Is cost, benefit per household or for job a consideration? Or is it simply, well, there are 23 houses on this road versus 20 on another road, even though the cost per unit is very different. That's all I'm saying.
Good point.
Good point. So going back to this, all we need tonight is to develop a mitigation investment policy.
It works?
And then do it.
And do it.
It works.
Oh, you want us to do it too? Man, okay. All right. Last thing. Engage Maine people.
And we've got to remember that it's not just the town that potentially will be paying for some of this, but hopefully we can get grants.
Yes.
Also pay for it. So the entire burden isn't on the town to pay for this, because we're talking serious
We
money.
are, and that goes back to continue to seek grants for engineering.
So I think, you know, B is very important to, continue to develop funding.
Oh, you're talking about developing a
Other funding for our infrastructure. I mean, for roads and for our landings and wharves and things.
Where are you looking?
at
tolls.
Here,
tolls?
right there.
The strategy, he just engage Maine people. Okay.
Maine with.
Maine with an E.
Not Maine people that we like, or those that we don't like.
We
Pick our priorities.
Okay,
It's
all right.
hard to do Maine with
So, number one is work on a community energy resource information program, which we've started. And, I think Peter brought it up at the last meeting, perhaps, about developing a sustainability news feed, and it's being discussed as a way of getting, we have to do a better job getting information about energy resources that are available to the public. And we've started, but we should be doing a better job at that. And I think we now have, we've started to develop a kind of a group of people who are going to work on that. And some of them are on the committee, some are not.
I don't think
the word completed will ever happen.
Because
all of the sources will constantly change.
That's true.
So
It's gonna be
subjects should be set up and regularly
updated or kept current.
Revolve.
Pardon?
Yes, that's right, it should evolve organically.
living documents.
Okay.
Mary Ann,
Mark?
can I suggest possibly adding another activity which,
No.
no,
thank you.
Under H?
And that is to monitor and report to the community the implications of climate change. I know that's one of the things that's being discussed in the update of Maine Won't Wait, but I was in a meeting last week where a member of a committee said, I don't think this sea level rise thing is real, etc. And I think that sort of documenting what's going on, what the implications are for the town, what the costs are for dealing with it, is an important part of this engaging Maine people. And I think the people who suffered damage in the January storms may or may not now be believers, but there are probably other people who say it was a freak storm and it's never going to happen again, or it happened in 1938 or whatever. I just think that's an important piece of the puzzle.
Good point. I see this is duplicated here.
Yeah. One less thing to cover.
So that sounds like a good idea. Monitor report to the community. The implications of climate change.
I think people believe or they don't believe. And it's very hard to convince people who don't believe in climate change. The compelling nature of the data, which demonstrates scientific data, which demonstrates that climate has changed.
And perhaps,
since the Industrial Revolution.
and perhaps that's not the question we should be addressing. Climate change is a term that we can talk about what has happened for 3 years, and we don't need to perhaps. Maybe you just keep providing information of what's happening and let people make their own decisions. Whether it's climate change or whether it's really costing us a lot of money in the last 10 years. And we need to do something different. I don't know.
That's a good point, because there's a difference between climate change is happening versus the town has needed to spend X to repair X, or to prevent X. It's very different.
Or there've been
more major power outages
events
in the last
3 years
than
much higher average.
Yeah.
I agree
that it makes sense to collect immediately geographically relevant data
and
put it out there for people to see.
I guess one of the distinctions is you don't have to ascribe climate change to fossil fuels. You can just look at data for the last 20 years and say that maybe it's just part of the natural evolution of the Earth, right? It doesn't really matter. It's kind of,
but it's something we're going to have to contend with.
Yeah.
You can look at the tide gauges for Portland over the last 20 years and see that the size of the mean tide level has risen.
it's not just going to stop.
That's what you said.
Good point.
Good
Maybe
point.
we'll add that as monitor report to the community the implications of climate change.
I have news and updates regarding climate change and the related implications.
That's fine.
Just a time check. I need to leave at 5:30.
We got 15 minutes. We better wrap it up.
Or I can forward it to you. I can forward the document to Abby and she could.
She's never going to show again.
She writes.
Oh, no, you can do that too.
Yeah. Well, I think we might be able to wrap up by 5:30.
Yeah, well,
Abby
Abby writes really dense notes.
I can see her fingers are flying at twice the rate mine were, so I'm looking.
Well, anyhow, I think we've gotten through the whole thing.
pretty cool, yeah.
I don't know if any of you had a chance to read the ones we talked about the other day. And they were emphasized in the minutes. But I'm ready to go with what we have. Which would be for strategy A, we're gonna undertake preliminary road studies to newly identify town roads subject to inundation, because what we're coming to the realization that there's new floodplain maps. And there's going to be, they're gonna show more roads are affected than perhaps showed on previous maps. We would like to know where they are, and even whether they're private or public. We will be able to get that from the mapping. This will be true that the town warms docks and launches are going to probably be more effective. There might be more of a difference with those than we will see with the roads. So if we move on those. And then the third one is to help private road residents prepare for increased maintenance as a result of climate change. Undertake an educational program in the creation of statutory road association. The question on this is, did we want to take more active role? And I think we pretty much decided at the last meeting that we did. The Conservation Commission has been talking about, Peter mentioned it, about his road association, and we thought of it as a good combination to help us in many ways in our communications.
Plus it fits in with vulnerability, as Ken said.
Which is another point. Okay, then we get
Then we get
into
into
strategy B,
strategy B,
complete the town
complete the town
office
office
energy
energy
improvements.
improvements.
So the
So
number
the
of
number of
improvements
improvements
have
have
been
been
identified
identified
through
through
the energy audit,
energy audit,
but they're not
but they're not
completed yet.
completed yet.
And
And
we really should
we
finish
really
those up,
finish
because
those up,
those go back
because
2
go
years.
back 2 years.
I will mention
I will
that
mention that
when talking to
when talking to
Christie, she's considering Spirit
as
as
paying
paying
for
for
the
the
funds
they
that
don't
they
have
don't
as
have
part of their
as part
maintenance
of their
budget.
maintenance budget.
Just reading
Just
the
reading the way the
article read
in the
warrant.
warrant.
We've talked
We've
about
talked
that
about that
all
all along as a possibility.
Right.
Right.
I think it's more
I
than
think it's more than
possible.
possible.
I mean,
I think
assumption
assumption
is
is
that
that
efficiency
May would be a
part
big
of that.
part of that.
Cover the bulk of it.
Right.
Right.
The next one was to undertake, do we wish to undertake energy audits improvements of other town buildings? And this is something I wish Howie was here, because I would think that would be something that they would look into and weigh in and then make some. We should put it in the plan, but it would be up to them to weigh in on whether they, after they think about it, what we should do.
So this one
could be
decide about
about
whether or not we need to undertake energy improvements of other buildings.
Or consider.
Or consider, right.
Consider.
Consider.
Strategy
Strategy
area
area
C,
C,
reduce emissions
reduce
from
emissions
energy.
from energy.
This is
This
explore
is
a town
explore
solar array. Now, the beginning part talks about
about
what the town is
what the
doing
town is
now,
doing now.
and,
And,
but then the orange, the letters in orange are suggestions of how the Energy and Technology Committee might want to proceed, so that we can still work for reducing our, becoming self-sufficient.
carbon neutral.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And basically, one of the suggestions that Mark made was to drop the concept that should be on a specific piece of town property. But open it up to town-owned land and other sites that the town could lease or otherwise get access to for this purpose. We don't know what's going to come up in the future. And then there's the ideas underneath of what to do to do a preliminary financial cost. This would be for the Energy and Technology Committee to take on. And they would come back with a report to us. And then report to the selectmen on what they feel we should, we should proceed.
Mary Ann,
the only thing I would say is that the opening paragraph,
Howie
spoke fairly strongly that the
sends, in
a sense, the town owns a small portion of a larger solar array should be deleted.
Thank you.
Correct.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, that's all that's in blue, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you see where that is?
Okay, I'm trying to
Look at
the number one is for.
No, I haven't. I'm just looking at the whole paragraph to see if the whole paragraph should come out. I'll work that. Because what we're really saying is that we wanna
Do a cost
do a
cost benefit analysis.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna rewrite this tonight. I'll send it around. Strategy D1 is. This is strategy D1. This is the one that we had a lot of discussion around. By the way, I talked to Matt Gilly, knowing that we did not have time to come tonight, and he understands. And he's going to come on the 1st of October, which will be our next meeting to talk about his concerns about uh, wind power.
Offshore.
Offshore wind power. This brings up something kind of a bit off, but we I explained to him how what our focus is and the question about wind power affecting us in the near future. That the lines coming into Harpswell affecting us in the near future. But at any rate, came up because I know Matt next to me here has a lot of information about various types of energy that we could be using and are in the process. And I'm just wondering if this is the type of thing as part of an educational process in the future of having some type of but panels talking about various types of various type of energy that's in the offing and have panelists, knowledgeable panelists as well as people who are going to have reasons why they don't think it's such a bad. I mean, you really sort of have both. Just thinking about that.
I think
that's an excellent idea because the points that Matt brought up that prompted
him to want
to come and speak with us
are things
are things that I had never heard before or seen printed or published anywhere. And
the things
that he outlined are alarming.
And I think
that information is not being generally put out. Everybody thinks no wind power just out there blowing around. Let me just plug it in, and it may not be that simple.
And I don't want to put Abby on the spot.
No.
But she and I were just it came to my mind also as I had questions about the project now I have not seen answers to. So don't want to analyze this tonight, but I'm wondering if that isn't.
If we get
pro and con presented in a public forum, I think that would be very helpful. Because the news that we're getting doesn't focus on some of this stuff.
And there's always, and even as we go forward in the future, there's going to be types of energy that are not ready to go yet. But I know myself, I'd like information on those too.
Well, and I think on to Rose's point, you're going to have different opinions. So strong ones, but to have people have a panel, and maybe it's not just this committee that hears it, right?
Right.
So I think that would be useful generally, and you know, there's studies. This study can show this, and this study can show the opposite. So people need to get the information and decide how they feel.
Exactly.
I think we'll have to choose the panelists very carefully.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Tim could probably
help with that as well. Perhaps Tim's here.
Yes. And Matt, I think you have a fair amount of knowledge about various other.
I don't know if I have resources for individuals and maybe able to talk.
If we get, I think, credible people who are able to come here, might have to be on a Zoom connection. I don't know. But this could be something in the future, in the next, in the near future that we could schedule as schedule for the public.
It's engagement. Can I ask a question about D?
Yes.
Looking at the original 22 sustainability plan, and was it D2 that created the concern?
Yes.
Establish a ton of energy industry and businesses located in the community, which didn't mean exactly what it said, but that provoked that concern, I think. And I noticed that's not here. So that's been taken out.
Yeah, I took it. Well, basically, maybe I missed something here. D.
That was
We
the
decided, we decided to do an introductory
paragraph,
right? Which was,
I'm not sure. I saw
a
a possibility
was to reword that,
yes,
yes.
so that it's
So that
not,
it's not,
so that it's
so that it's more clear, it's clearer and
not scary.
not scary.
so
So,
how might we do that?
I don't have the answer, but it was,
Well, Nancy, you had that point as I recall.
I did. So here's what I wrote in the minutes. It was to clarify the intention of attracting companies to Harpswell that are in the business of sustainability, not necessarily in developing green energy sources. An example would be to attract businesses in carbon sequestration like kelp farming. And at the time, Running Tide was here, and they were doing kelp farming, which is a way of kelp growing, which is a way of sequestering carbon and sinking it into the deep water. So the intention was not to specify anything like wind turbine energy provided by wind turbines, but to foster an environment in Harpswell in which businesses that were looking for ways to sequester carbon or promote energy efficiency would find the I'm not a business person, never have been, but have the business environment that they would feel welcome here, and that the town would welcome that kind of industry here.
That's what we got to say.
That's what we have to say,
exactly.
But I don't know
how business speak is the problem.
Well, we don't have to make it business.
Yeah, it's
It's gonna be very general, like you said, I don't.
Business speak is cliche,
Teacher speak is a lot of cliche.
Do it.
So should I
take what's in the minutes to revise it?
Yeah, if you would.
Sure.
And then we
By
can
midnight tonight.
By midnight.
By midnight tonight.
So that would be every three then.
No, it'll be,
Mm-hmm. Because two is different.
I just forwarded Abby the minutes as of 5:30.
oh, it's 5:30, it is 5:30, isn't it?
She's gonna send me either raw data that she's collecting now, or she's gonna just drop that in, or either way, but I just saw it, sure.
Oh, thank you, I'm sorry, I thought we'd be done.
Life goes on.
It does, thank you, Mark, it's good to see you.
Have a good commute.
That's it, commute.
Have a good commute.
Have a good commute. Yeah, that's right. The Oxford.
All right, so, let's go back. So the first section talks about local food production. The second one talks about clean energy businesses, such as, yeah. So that'll be D2, just reword that with what we just talked about, Nancy.
Right. But then you have in the version that we got today a numeral two. So are there gonna be three components there under strategy area D1? Is that what you were asking, Jake? Are we adding back in the one about businesses?
I think we're gonna still make that two. All right, in one. I'm not sure that number one should read the way it does even.
That looks
like a preface to me.
Yeah, it is. So, as a
to
preface to
D1.
Yes.
But we also need a preface to D2. Which you're gonna write.
I'm not sure
what you're referring to as D2.
I'm sorry, D1. I should probably put D2 back in. I should put in, let me read this. I should put in black.
Yes.
Or blue. Establish incentives for clean energy industry or businesses to locate in the community.
No, that's what
Nancy's gonna
I'm
do.
gonna
I'm gonna rewrite that one.
And that'll be D2.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
And
And then,
I would suggest Nancy, use the words like appropriate for Harpswell community
Yes.
in there.
Yes.
That would say, well, you're running, landing up wind capable through Harpswell would not be appropriate.
Okay,
But
so
that
that's
keeps you.
that's good.
that's good business.
And I'm gonna go home, have a beer draft, and send it to you.
Oh, fair enough.
Okay.
And then what is two in this draft becomes 3.
And then we're gonna take out incentivize clean energy carbon sequestration, what are we gonna say?
I'm gonna
reword that.
Just
Yeah,
reword
just
it.
number 2.
I'd leave that sequestration. You'd leave out what? Well, I don't know.
That was that should have been an example.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe, but it would be.
Right.
That's merely an example. Yes.
And then 3 would be work with fishing and harvesting community, support and provide information to enable them to prepare their infrastructure to stay resilient. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I think we've done it.
it.
Or maybe not.
Sounds like
It's
it's a living
document.
document. I think we've done it.
Mark?
On that rewrite that Nancy's doing, she said something about kelp and sequestration of carbon. And is the intention to leave that in or not?
Well, sure.
Well, because my question is, one of the things that my understanding of the demise of Running Tide was that there were both environmental issues raised about their proposal to sink kelp to deep ocean depths. And also there were issues about the scale, the impact of the scale of kelp harvesting that would be needed to have any significant impact. And so I just think, there are people out there in the community that thought that their approach to using kelp was not well thought out. And I'm not sure we gain anything by putting references to such as kelp.
Anything.
It's just.
I thought it was more general,
just general carbon sequestration.
which can be much broader.
Yeah.
I'd like
Right.
to include carbon sequestration because it's the only reference to mitigation, to sequestration of carbon
in
this whole
whole
document.
document.
We talked about being more energy efficient, and we talked about using solar arrays and so on, but I think it's important to include, can we actually sequester carbon? Can this town do something to sequester carbon? I think that example is the moon example.
And potentially create jobs.
And I agree. And that example was also controversial. Not everybody saw it, including like in Island Institute. So
Yeah.
it's what Ken said, appropriate for Harpswell or the community.
Right.
And
So-
science.
So that was not a good example, but it doesn't mean that we should be creating an business environment which people can be successful at carbon sequestration. That's scalable, it's translatable, and so on.
We can expand it to say carbon sink or sequestration.
Okay,
Okay?
that was good.
Science.
Again, shame we don't have home here. That would be called one as well.
Yeah. Are we there?
Here's some more extra.
Okay, good, so I think we're there for today. And I will start making updates to this. I'll insert your updates. And you're going to pass in.
Do you need us to approve this letter to the select board?
Probably. And it has, Matt, I'm going to give you the opportunity to talk about the changes that were made to that. Because I haven't even looked at them, to tell you the truth. Mark and Matt have made some changes to this letter.
Yeah, Mark and I independently went through and made changes, and then I went and looked at his changes, and they were all the same changes that I had done. So. But right, yeah. So mostly kind of copy edit things, just some spelling, expanding. The expanded acronym for GoPef is incorrect, so it needs to be fixed. A few references to things like using the word us or we could be the town or something. Otherwise, Mark, did you have anything else to say on that? I think that was.
No, I think you and Mary Ann can just clean it up, and I think in general.
I would move we use the letter
as amended.
Good idea. I like
I'll
that.
second it.
Okay, all in favor? Still have four.
We did.
By the way, Thursday night, if you're not doing anything, there's a meeting on the select board meeting room in here at 6 o'clock. We are going to be on the agenda.
Mary Ann, go back to the letter. The one thing that I made a note of and then I didn't think is that I think Nancy or somebody in their spreadsheet has how much the Spira account has been used. And I think it would be helpful if there is a way to say that, you know, the Spira account has been used 6 times or 4 times in the amount of X or Y, because the expectation is, I think, that there will be a budget request to at least replenish the account, and it would be good for the select board members, including Jane, to have the numbers of how it's been used and how much has been taken out of it.
Great, I have those numbers. Also, I was wondering, would it make sense to hear to where the issues, they're listed where we've gotten grants, would the amount of money be of interest there?
I mean, I think it would be good to, almost as an addendum, to have a progress report for the select board that says, here's what's happened in terms of the, you know, implementation of the sustainability initiatives over the last 2 years, and this is where things stand. This is where money came from and how much of it came from Spira, etc. I think that would be a good public relations tool, if you will, and would be helpful in a town meeting discussion that says, you know, the town has invested $45,000 and gotten a return of $200,000 on its money, or whatever it is.
Good. We will add that. We have those numbers.
That's all in the first sheet of the spreadsheet. To the best of my knowledge.
And I thought they were on the, actually, I thought they were on the back of my agenda, but I can't find them. But anyhow, good. So I think we're there on this. We'll update this letter. make changes, and then this letter will go to the selectmen with an attachment that will have the new action items. In a kind of a readable format, not in any particular, just in text, basically. Similar to what we did the last time. All right. You want to bring anything else up? If not, Mark, I think we're gonna close this shop up.
Sounds good to me.
All right.